3, 2. Oh, I think it started.
So it started. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start. Assuming that it has started, it is May. Oh no, it's not May. It's actually June now. June 13th. We usually do it on a Tuesday, but for some of the regular followers, we have been a little off lately by maybe a couple hours. We usually today we're doing it on a Wednesday, mainly because our special guest today had something that he had to take care of on Tuesday. And had to start late because I was running a company Mahjong meetup today, and we got into a little bit of a different talk today, so we kind of had to start late, so I apologize. Masa, how's your mic today? Pretty good?
How's my microphone today?
Microphone?
Should
a
be...
little off?
Yeah, I'm at the LAPOM dojo and then using the different computers, so it might be
got it.
Not good.
Okay. So we kind of hear this maybe laundromat-ish sound in the back, some humming. Bear with us. But yeah, without further ado, today's special guest, if you've been in any of the local tournaments in the US or even Australia or even anywhere, you've probably met this guy. We talked about, Kojima Pro, Mr. Mahjong passing away last week in our show. But this is my personal opinion, but I think the US Mr. Mahjong is no other than this guy right here. We'll have him do a quick intro. Yeah, go ahead. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Wow, setting the bar high. So my name is Daniel Marino, and on online Mahjong circles, I'm also known as Dasuke. Right now, I'm with the Pacific Mahjong League up here in North California, and yeah, I travel a lot of places to play Mahjong.
Okay, so for those of you guys that know him, which I'm assuming it's majority of you guys, but as he said, kind of set the hurdles high, the bar is high. But again, he goes to every single tournament out there that I know of, and he brings results for the most part. And some of you guys may have talked to him in person, some of you guys may have not. Maybe some of you guys thought he was a mythical creature or a legendary player to a certain extent. But a couple questions we're going to ask him, or ask you. One, how you got into Mahjong. This might be an infamous story. I know how it started, but if you could give us a quick recap on that. And another question would be what your future goals are when it comes to Riichi Mahjong.
So I originally found out about Mahjong, as a side in some random anime. I think it was like Triple X Holic. I just saw him play with these tiles. Like, oh, that's an interesting thing. And when I was in college, one day I was just scrolling through this giant email of 100 different random clubs, and I just kind of looking to see what if I want to randomly go try out something, and scroll down all the way, and I found a Mahjong club. So I thought, oh, that's cool. It's the thing that they played there. So I kind of went over there and just, opened the door, and then, two people in, suits greet me, and they're like, welcome, here, have free cookies. And it's like, wow, cookies! So I was sold at that point. And, at that club,
quick question. Chocolate chip?
Yeah.
Quick. Chocolate chip?
Whoa.
Hello? Daniel?
Hey, Masa, can you mute your mic?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. What was that, Kenji?
Yeah,
chocolate chip?
Chocolate chip? They had a lot. So if you've ever been to Austin, there's this place called Tiff's Cookies down there on campus.
Okay.
And they just brought that. So they had chocolate chip, oatmeal raisin, snickerdoodle, everything.
Okay.
So I originally learned at the Texas Mahjong Club at the University of Texas. And I learned how to play Chinese Mahjong, which is, really fun when you first learn to play. There's no scoring, no anything, just chi, pon, chi. Really easy to teach. The club had I believe 30 people at the time, and that was the first semester it opened, so it was really nice club. And, over time I just kept playing that and playing that. I'd find little apps and play them, and then eventually one day this guy came in who studied abroad in Japan, and he learned how to play Japanese Mahjong. So he taught me and a couple other people how to play, and he never showed up again. But me and the other people that knew, learned how to play that one time, like looked into it more. This guy also has a blog where he just wrote an entire like how to play Japanese Mahjong app, and his blog is Kafkafura at wordpress.wordpress.com. Really nice introduction to Mahjong, like very like comprehensive. And so learned from there, started playing online, eventually ended up in the online Mahjong community, jumped over, studied abroad in Japan for a year, pushed all my classes on like 2 days, and spent the rest of the days running off to Mahjong parlors and playing. Got to meet like tons of people, going to different tournaments, and yeah, really fun since then. And then what are my future goals in Mahjong? That's a hard one.
Yes.
Definitely want to get better. Like, you know, the better and better I get at this game, the more fun it is for me. Because, you know, you just get to see a lot more stuff. Like, you know, you're playing against people, and you get a better idea of, like, you know, what are they trying to do? How are they trying to do it? It's like a form of communication in itself. And then, aside from, like, you know, personal Mahjong goals, I, like, really, really want to see this game grow. Especially in regards to like the number of players and the people that get like really into this, because in my personal opinion, I think like, you know, just playing Mahjong with people is already like really fun, but you know there's certain like tables that you get that are like exceed that fun, like an insane amount. The best examples I can give is when you're ever at a tournament, you know, already everyone's like kind of has like this really high level of attention. They're like, you know, really serious about it. And then when you ever get to a final on the final table, that's when it's like amazing. Like everyone's just like super focused. They're all happy because they're like, you know, like, oh yes, I made it to the top 4. Now it's just like lay everything on the line. Yeah, like
as Masa would know.
I can't describe it with words.
From
like
Dallas.
you know, from the biggest tournaments I've been in to like the smallest tournaments I've been in, like any final table that you ever get to, they're very, very. I live for that. It's just so nice.
Is there a memorable, well, maybe not even finals, but a memorable match that you've had in your Mahjong career so far?
A lot.
A lot. What's one that just pops to mind right now?
So one of them was at last year's Vancouver tournament. So it was a very interesting tournament because there was like no time limit. And it was a very like relaxed tournament as far as everything is concerned. But you know, once you get to the final table, even it's still pretty up there, even the most relaxed tournaments or even the smaller tournaments. And so we were playing on the final table between me, Casper from the Vancouver group, David Lee, and oh my God, why am I forgetting his name? There's 2 of them in there's 2 of them in Seattle. Why? Oh, Shane Ryder. So we're all playing, and then it's going around, you know, pretty nice upkeep game, and we have like a gallery of people just like watching us, and like I have like Sylvan Royer, another female member who moved down to LA right by my side, and we're going to Horas. I was just dealer. I had a reach, you know, pretty early, nice reach going through, and then my toyman, last place, like, you know, cons a tile, gets into Tempai and Riichis, and I'm like, oh, I can feel it, the Ippatsu coming. Draw the tile, deal in, boom, Ippatsu, and then I end up in last place right there. So then we're going into Horas, and I'm in last place. First place has, like, you know, they're only like 33,000-ish. Second place is pretty close. Third place is pretty close. We go around once. It goes to Yukoku, and we do it again. And I'm like, all right, if I get a Hanuman Sumo, I'm good. Or if I get a direct hit Ron, direct Hanuman Ron off first place, then I can also get first place. Because, you know, if you're in a tournament, got to go for first place. At least for me.
All or nothing.
So Sylvan's staying right by my side. I told him, watch this. And so I just go, grab my tile. 7th turn, Riichi for Honitsu, Hatsu. You know, ready to go. Get the sumo, then I'm good to go. So it's going around. My tile doesn't come out. Keeps going. And then, you know, my last draw, it's like, come on! Nothing. It's like, darn. I discard it, and there's only 2 more draws left. The second place guy and then like the third place guy. So second place guy draws his tile, discards it. Third place guy draws his tile, and he needs to be Tempai right now, or else he's not gonna get into the top 2. Because this tournament, the top 2 got WRC seats, and so he really wanted to get into that top 2. So he drew his tile, and he's like, "Fuck!" Discards it, and it was my winning Hatsu, and I'm like, "Okay, wait. So there is another way I can win, and that is if I get the Haite drop, and I flip 2 Uradora." Which all of my hand, I basically had. I had Ipeco as well, and so I had basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chances for multiple Uradora. So I run him, and then go over there to flip the Ura. Nope. But it ended the game where I ended up in second place, 100 points above third place.
Oh.
And 100 points below first place.
Dang,
and
close.
Yeah, we also looked at the end, but I had like 6 available tiles in the dead wall that could have potentially been the winning era. So it's just like, yeah, that was fun.
That's really nice. Like when you play more like serious game, like sometimes some good matches coming up, and then even though I'm not playing, that's really like fun to watch. Let's say recently we had a 4-game match at the LAPOM, and Aki and Kenyu. Kenyu was leading all the way, but final game Aki came back, and then at the Orasu they got tied. And we don't know what to do after they get tied. So whoever they win the hand, they're gonna win. And then lastly, they got both Tempai, but the last piece of Upin, both same Suji weights. Like, and then almost Ryukyoku, and then the Aki grabbed it, the Tsumo. That was kind of nice game.
Yeah, high tension games are what I love for in Mahjong.
Yeah. At that point, I guess luck is a factor. What was that one line in Tenpai made by Kurosawa-san? It was like the difference between luck and something was like 50. You play 100 times, 51 against 49, and what's the difference between that? It was something along that line.
Yeah.
Also might know. It was within the first few volumes, I think. Okay, maybe not. But I guess when it comes to Mahjong, there's, so many people play so many times, and then there's these datas, right? There's these stories that you hear from people, and then from friends, from your opponents, and in this case, the podcast. And then that becomes like not a stereotype. In Japanese, we call it aru-aru. Something common that everyone kind of knows. It's kind of like a stereotypical thing, but that sounds like one of those epic moments that some people may have experienced before. Obviously, you firsthand. But I guess it's pretty interesting, like because most of the time, like when I hear what is your most memorable, it's like, oh, it's when I won this one Yakuman, right? Or when so and so happened. But yours was just a memorable incident that you just can't forget. Even though you didn't take first, it was how close it was.
You've been playing Mahjong too much when a really close game that goes and you barely just skim by and then you end up in fourth is more enjoyable than a game where you just start off and you get a Yakuman and the game's over.
Yeah. It's not the point, not the actual win that counts. It's the process. It's the journey. It's the same thing with life. We're all gonna, we all have the same goal at the end of X amount of years, but it's the process that makes it fun.
Especially for finals, I got into the point where I was getting some finals and well, it's only one game, right? You can't win every single game. It's gonna be luck.
Yeah.
But that's a horrible way of thinking about it, because even if you're playing one final game, even if it might come down to some luck, if you're not giving that game 150% of everything you've got, if you're not using your entire skill, you'll end up in some finals sometimes, but and you might even win some finals sometimes. But if you want to be like, you know, continually like getting on that stage, you want to continually get to the point where you're like winning these tournaments over and over and over. And which even if you look in Japan, where you have like tons of really good people, you still have some really good people that are constantly, consistently winning like, you know, different leagues and different tournaments over and over and over. Like at the end of the day, it comes down to your skill. So even if it's one game, like you have to 100% just like fully believe that this is controllable by you. And yes, you might lose. Yeah, you might just get destroyed. But you know what? If it's a good battle, it doesn't matter because like that right there is just like the peak enjoyment. At least for me, for Mahjong.
That's what I hear from some of our more experienced and high level players at LAPOM too. I think Masa had a similar story the other day as well. Let's go into because I know, you know, Daniel and I met 2.5 years ago. Relatively new, but Masa and Daniel have met before, right? You guys have a slightly longer history together when you guys played at a nearby Mahjong establishment in LA. Masa, what was your first impression, first time playing with Daniel?
Oh no, that was an interesting story because I have never played with an American player. I didn't we didn't know there's like which players exist in the United States. And then when I first time met him, I was thinking, what kind of player he is. But like even in like one game, I could tell, oh, he knows a lot. He did like a lot of Suji trap. He did Meisai. What was the Meisai called in English?
Camouflaging?
Yeah, camouflaging. Or like Showa style Sakigiri. he does everything, like Hell Tanki. So, oh shit, this guy could play. That was so impressive. And he brought Spencer next time he visited LA. And then Spencer was going crazy. I was like, oh shit, I need to work on my skills more. They're gonna beat us easily. So that's how I started, like restarted Mahjong like 2 years ago. So thank Daniel. Yeah, they gave us like a lot of motivation.
Yeah, Spencer is another name we haven't mentioned here much, but I hope he's listening. I hope he's doing good in New York. Wish to see him again, but
supposedly he's going to be moving back to California.
His story. Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome. Because I know he was a guest on Mahjong Meetup once or twice. This for those of you guys who don't know, Ryan, SoCal Ryan, Southern California Ryan, and Daniel here, they also had a podcast a couple years ago. I think we were like 10 episodes in total. I think. And then I remember Spencer was a guest on one of those episodes, and I think the match that Masa is talking about, Spencer kind of explained it in his point of view, like why he did certain things. I think I remember him talking about Nagare, the flow at the time, and he had to have, bring this impression on his opponents, because I think he played against Masa was there, Shisho was there, and was it you two?
Yep.
Spencer and Daniel, just you four.
Yes.
Yeah. So if time zone and scheduling allows, I would like to have Spencer again, just to listen that story one more time in his perspective. That was a pretty fun story. Yeah, so I said you guys played before. That was the impression from Masa, not playing against a non-Japanese player. Because, I mean, to be honest, most of the Japanese players out there, regardless if you're poor or not, you've probably played against Japanese players only, for the most part, right? Because I guess here in the U.S., when Japanese players do play Mahjong, for the most part, until a lot of these clubs are being more known, they just play house Mahjong. They just play at their houses, invite friends or friends of friends that they already know, which for the most part is usually Japanese. Different play style, I guess. And then when we went to WRC, when we interviewed some of our players, the professional players in Japan, a lot of them did say playing against non-Japanese people, Europeans, Americans, Australians, and South Americans, everybody, they said that it gave them a chance to kind of re-look at their play style, that they still have to improve, because some of the non-Japanese players, or even the non-pros, gave the pros a run for their money. And hearing some of that was pretty interesting. So that changed the pros, motivated them, and obviously it motivated Masa when you two first played against each other.
And then, I have came up with like interesting story with Daniel. And when we played at the Seattle, I impressed Daniel because he was bringing the notebook. That was only him, and then he's writing like a lot of stuff on the notes, taking the Mahjong notes. But he kept writing during the game, and that was funny. Aki told me when they play together, Daniel was writing his the hand shape with what would you discard kind of stuff. And then Aki saw Aki saw the notes, and he could exactly tell what he has, what the Daniel has. So that was interesting. And then not only Daniel learns a lot. He owns how many books now, Daniel?
No, only like 70-ish.
70
only 70
Mahjong books. So
benefits of being able to read in Japanese.
More like learn to read Japanese specifically for Mahjong books.
He's learning from books. He's reading a lot of the blog in Japanese, and he like when we started LAPOM, he was the information source giving out the in Japanese Mahjong information to us. Like pro information, Tenko's like famous players information. He's crazy.
Yeah, has a lot of connections with organizations and groups in Japan as well.
Yes.
Being able to speak the language, that's one. Being passionate, that's definitely another one. But kind of being, this is my speculation, but I think a lot of the pros see Daniel as an ambassador for Mahjong when it comes to the U.S. Hence, I called you Mr. Mahjong of the U.S. So
we definitely think so.
Living up to the hype, yeah. That's what we think, we feel. Mainly, again, I'm going to mention this again, but the passion. Every time for the listeners out there who has met him, you probably feel the passion coming from him. There was a recent Facebook, our internal LAPOM group. There was I forgot her name, but she was from Korea. Posted out, hey, I don't know if you're in here, but you kind of introduced me to Riichi at a certain tournament, and somebody just randomly said, it might be Daniel, and you chimed in and say, yeah, that's probably me. So, even then, that was a pretty funny post that I read.
Thanks for that, by the way.
Yeah, some interesting comment.
Yeah. So he's reaching out to more Mahjong friends that we are at this rate, right? Our episode. So in that sense, Daniel was one of the names that was up for the first guest of the show. Was definitely one of them. But again, we decided to go with Michelle. And it's just crazy how Mahjong has or is continuing to grow. Today, when I was spreading, showing my colleagues at work how to play, one reason why I went a little late was because a Cantonese-style Mahjong player saw us playing in the lunchroom. And she was like, I heard some tiles. And she peeked in. along with another Chinese coworker, and he was like, "Ooh, you guys are gambling." Right? That immediate impression was that, and I was like, "No, that's not what we're doing. We are playing Japanese style." And then we kind of introduced the rules to them. So there was a little English cheat sheet that I printed out. They were looking at it and they're asking a bunch of questions, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, Ipeiko, we have this in our rules." And so and so yaku. What's a yaku? So they were kind of asking different things. But at the end of the day, you're playing with the same tiles, and everybody's just having fun. They're picking up, I think, a lot faster than some of the other players. And it's this teaching method, right? Different ways to expose different people at different skill levels. I know, Daniel, you've been implementing a certain type of teaching method when it comes to new beginners, or beginners in general. Would you like to kind of talk over your methodology?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I travel around a lot of places, and over here at our Pacific Mahjong League Club, we also teach a good amount of people that come by. And so I get to try out a lot of different ways to teach people how to play Mahjong. One of the more recent ones, which has been around for a little while, especially in Japan, is what we call over here the Tibet method. So this was originally introduced to me by a American living in Japan named Benjamin Boas. And I heard about this from David Bresnik, who runs the US Female, and so I got in contact with Ben and basically got the information of, like, what is this, Tibet style. So the idea of Tibet style is, break the game down into, like, really, really, like, small pieces. So, whenever you start out, you get rid of all the tiles except only circles, only the pinzu. And then you explain, like, okay, what is Mahjong about? Like, what are you trying to do? And you start off with making a simple hand instead of, like, the normal 4 groups of 3 and 1 pair. Just start off with 1 group of 3 and 1 pair, and you play like a little mini game. And you just step through, adding complexity as your students advance, and then slowly bring them up to the full game. And I've learned when doing that way, they are very confident in regards to, like, how to discard and, like, what their weights are on, and it has some really nice benefits. But aside from that, like, I know Seattle has been hosting Mahjong at SoccerCon up in Seattle every single, like, year for, like, the past, since, like, before 2010, I think. Yeah. And they have a Mahjong room where, like, 28 tables, something insane, and they have a constant flow of beginner tables where they'll go over there and teach people how to play Mahjong, and then immediately afterwards they'll send them off to play with other beginners, and so everyone kind of learns together. And the way they do it there is they just go through 3 hands. 1 open hand, just to kind of explain 4 groups of 3 in a pair. Another hand to explain, like, what a yaku is, like, what do you need, and what are, like, the basic ones. And then at the end they might include calling. And this way works really good in this in the environment that they're in, because even though the people there don't know, like, the full rules, even though they can't, like, after learning, they can't just immediately play, like, super fast. They know enough to play a game with other people at their skill level. And because it's a convention, you're constantly teaching people. You have a, like, influx of people that you can just put on the table that are with each other and who have similar, experience. And then you have slightly higher players that know a little bit more than they do that will introduce them, like, new stuff. And so it works out amazingly for just, like, bringing up people, giving them a place to play. So yeah, props to Seattle.
Nice. Oh, we recently brought the Suzume-jan, which is like a mini game with only bamboo and chung and hatsu. That one really works good.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun game.
And then we start using this for the kids' school on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
The kids already catching up.
Be careful, Masa. Those kids are going to be taking those championships from you soon.
Oh yeah. But yeah, some of those mini games could really helpful to, like, what Mahjong is about. Like, it is really good. So I hope other clubs start using those methods. I know most of them knows the Tibet, but I think some Yaku, it's kind of difficult, right? Like using full sets.
So the biggest problem with Tibet method is it's really good for learning the basics of the game, but then you get to the point where it's like, okay, now you need also a Yaku, which can throw players off because you've been telling them like, oh, you just need 4 groups, 3 in a pair, and then suddenly you're like, pull out the sheets from under them and say, oh, actually you also need a Yaku. So and this is the thing I've been actually messing with lately is, so how can you get past that initial jump? So what I've tried to do lately is just kind of similar to how they started over there in Seattle, which the first introduction they give them is not just, how do you win? Make 4 groups, 3 in a pair. They say you need 2 things to win. A Yaku and 4 groups, 3 in a pair. What's a Yaku? Well, Riichi, Tanyao, and Yakuhai. Ta-da! And once you introduce it from that perspective, it's a lot less of a shock for the players. To like make that transition.
So when it comes to, because let's go into Fanime now. So you mentioned SakuraCon. That's an anime event up in Seattle, and the Seattle Mahjong group have been, as we said, they've been doing that for multiple years. PML, Pacific Mahjong League, where you and technically me too, location-wise, in Northern California, there's this thing called Fanime, and PML has been, offering a booth for how many years now?
So, PML has been offering a booth for, let's see, so I came in back in like 2015, so I think since 2014, they've been hosting Mahjong at Fanime in San Jose.
Okay. So 4 years, or going into 5.
Yep.
And I'm assuming you guys incorporate the same Tibet-style rules when you guys teach all the new players there, right? How long does it take on average, based off of what you've experienced, do they get the whole, the flow, I guess?
So a lot of it depends on like who you're teaching, because you're always going to have some people like learn it really quick, other people will learn it a little bit slower, some people just want to jump right into the full game because they've watched Saki and Akagi, other people like, don't know what this is, or, maybe want to learn like just like basic like Chinese rules and just kind of want to have an idea of what their parents are playing. And so usually for doing Tibet method, it can take usually about, I would say like probably 45-50 minutes, so it's a little bit slower. If you're doing just, if they've seen Saki or Akagi before, that makes it really easy. Because they're like, alright, you have an idea of what this is. And so, we're just going to play an open hand, tell you, like, what can you do with these tiles? What are the tiles? What can you do with the tiles? And then, like, how to win. And then that can be a little bit quicker, so around, like, 20, maybe 30 minutes. And then, if you're being creative, you can even add something that a lot of people that play view really, really complicated, like scoring. Because if you ask a person, like, what's the most hardest thing in Japanese Mahjong, everyone's like, oh, scoring. I can't remember that, complicated sheet. But if you just, like, simplify the scoring down, anyone can learn it. Because it's like, all right, let's just play a simple game where it's like any, like, Yaku is like a point. And every point that you get, like, will double your hand up to 8,000. So it's like 1 point is 1,000, 2 points is 2,000, 3 points is 4,000, and then 8,000. And then, if you win off someone, they pay it all. If you win on sumo, then dealer pays half, and the quarters come from the other people. And because it's like just very simple, they don't have to memorize anything. You just have to know it'll double each up to 8,000. And then, even if they're brand new, they can say, oh, cool, I get this, and you can make a game out of it at that point.
Right now, what I'm doing with our club, is I have the 100-point sticks, and we're doing it based off of Han, like how many Han. Because not all of them know the Yakus yet. We've only gone through Yakuhai, Riichi, Anyao, Chanta, Chi-Toi, and Toi-Toi. And we've verbally gone over Homitsu, but that'll be next week. But trying to get them understand the value of a Han and memorizing the Yaku at the same time. That's been the past 2 weeks. It's been working so far. Little by little, I'm increasing the points.
Nice.
How many Hans? So last week it was the first time we did it with 6. No one busted. Today we did it with 8. Somebody busted. The tricky thing is the tsumo. The tsumo part was a little tricky. Because it's hard to divide it with Han, right? So at the end of the day, we decided if you tsumo, you're gonna get that point, that Han value from each person. If you're the dealer, you just get 2 extra Hans or 2 extra points as an experiment. And then one guy busted. But he was having fun at the same time. He was like, "Oh, I didn't know this would happen." I was like, you shouldn't have discarded the new Condor after I conned. So,
and then for anyone that's listening that would want to start up a club or something, one of the biggest things I hear from a lot of people is oh, I'm not good enough to teach Mahjong, or oh, I'm not good enough to start up a club. How good you teach Mahjong is literally no concern whatsoever. Because you could be the best teacher in the world. You could get that information through to them so quick that they instantly know all the rules after a day of playing with you. But if they don't have fun, they're not going to come back. If they're not having a really good time, they're not going to keep showing up. And even if you're a really bad teacher, but they just had so much amounts of fun, they'll keep coming back over and over and over, and they'll eventually learn the rules. So as long as you can make it fun, nothing else matters.
Yeah, that's what has to stay at first. That's why I'm working on my Mahjong jokes. Trying to make it a little more interesting. So far, no one has stopped coming, so I guess that's a good sign.
So's far?
So's far, yep. I'm stealing that one. I'm going to use that next week. But yeah, of course,
be careful, they might just walk out on you.
Man. Yeah, when it comes to Mahjong jokes, sometimes it's hard because it'll make more sense in Japanese. It won't really correlate to English.
Oh, there's a lot of English ones though.
Yeah. But one day we'll make a post.
Mahjong joke.
Hey, Masa, let's do this. Yeah, we've done a photo contest before. Let's do a
Mahjong joke.
Mahjong joke.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Set up a Twitter bot with just really bad Mahjong puns.
Yeah, we've been doing something similar on Twitter, but Japanese only. This one guy, he Ogi, I don't know how to say that. It's not really a pun. It's a joke. That you do. So there's this one subject that we do, right? And then you're gonna have to try and make come up with something funny with it. Let's say we posted I don't know, Daniel, maybe you saw it, but we posted all the green tiles, 4 2-sos, 4 3-sos, 4 4-sos, 6, 8, and Hatsu. All 4 of them, right? And then we posted, name this new Yakuma. And then we got a bunch of interesting
answer from Japan.
Answers, mainly from Japan. A couple of them were from here, from the U.S. And then there's a show in Japan where it does something similar, not Mahjong related, but something similar.
Like
and
comedy
then
show?
if it's funny, the judges would vote how much, and if everybody votes yes, then ippon, like judo, ippon, right? So we were doing that, and we came up with a lot of funny answers. We might do an American version.
Yeah, let's do it.
That might be a good idea. We'll give that a shot.
So what was the best answer you got for that one?
There were multiple. One person, so there is a band or group called Green in Japan. Green with 4 E's. And then there's a song called Kiseki, which translates to miracle. So that person was miracle by Green. You see the intention. It's a miraculous hand. It's never going to happen. And it's also all green. So we're like, oh, that's actually a really good one. Should I dare to say who that person was? I'll leave that up to the judges. If you follow us on Twitter, you will see who posted that. Masa, anything that you remember that was funny?
From that one, there was a bunch of them came.
There was a bunch of them, yeah.
Yeah, but
None coming to mind.
yeah, there was like a lot of interesting ones.
Yeah. But stuff like that, again, having fun, jokes have to start somewhere, right? As long as there's smiles, that's the most important thing. And eventually, we're hoping that would transition into more competitive mindset, because as Daniel, you may know, competition, that's a totally different beast. Just having fun is one thing, but there's a different side of fun, right?
The vicious, it's like a vicious, like, I don't know, it's like a trap where it's like a lot of people that like play on Tenho especially, or like any online thing where keeps your records, you can like see them right in front of you. It's like you get to the point where it's just, I don't know, almost painful to play, because you're just so focused on like getting better, or maybe your ranking, or if you're in the league, if you're like not in the top of the league, and so it's like it's pretty difficult to find that dividing line of like having so much fun that basically the league, the ranking, on Tenho or otherwise, is basically irrelevant compared to like you having fun, or even if you're having fun getting better, like all those things can make it a lot less painful.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it is a competitive game, right? No one's gonna start playing Mahjong and say, "Oh, I'm okay with losing." Right? They might say that, but at the end of the day, you're gonna want to win a hand. That's the competitive aspect.
I disagree. I think at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, Mahjong is something you play because you have fun, and even if sometimes you play and you're like, ah, crap, I dealt into like this big ass hand, or oh, dang it, I'm just getting like tons of force. The only reason that anyone plays this game is because they have fun. The only reason that people want to win at this game is because they have fun. And so, like, as soon as you take out, like, the fun of that equation, or as soon as you take out, like, the original purpose, and then, like, put, like, way too much focus on, like, the competitive aspect, and skipping over, like, why people play that game in the first place, that's when you get into the point where it's just like, well, what's the point? Which is why, like, for me, like, like, I would be great with, like, really hardcore, like training games and all that, because, getting better at Mahjong is pretty fun for me. But for, like, a lot of my, like, club members, if I try to just, like, push that on them, then, that's not fun for them. It's just like, why am I doing this? Like, that's not what I want to do. And so, trying to find the dividing line of, like, all right, how can I help people get better without forcing that on them and making it really fun?
Oh, that's a good topic.
And so, like,
it's interesting, like, right now at LAPOM, some of the old ladies, they just came for, like, having fun.
Yep.
But recently, like, we didn't do nothing much, but from some of the ladies, they started, I hate to lose. And they start learning how to calculate food. They start learning, they renting out the books, trying to find out the tile efficiency or the theories, which is like really fun to see. And they're getting better and better. It's actually made me feel really good. We didn't do nothing much, but yeah, that's pretty good sign,
Originally, when I started playing Tenho, like, I only had one goal for my account. I wanted to get, like, all the Yakumans. So I would, like, not try to win anything, just only go for Yakumans. Like, my R on that account ended up being, like, less than 1,000, which you start with, like, 1,500 R. And that's the same account that I have to this day. And so, I didn't actually want to start, getting better until I started playing, weekly with my friends. And then when you play with your friends, you're like, oh yeah, you play them, and you're like, okay, I want to beat them. So how do I beat them? I got to get better.
Okay, so getting better. Let's talk about the tournament coming up. U.S. Open.
Yeah. So there's a lot of tournaments coming up. I think last week Ryan talked about the Florida tournament. Looking forward
Yep.
to
Yep.
that.
Mhm.
This next month,
Obviously, you're participating.
yep. This next month we're gonna Seattle's having their Seattle tournament on like July 23rd ish or so.
Yeah,
Uh,
21st, 22nd, I think,
21st, 22nd.
maybe next
if I
week
remember.
we're gonna invite the Seattle people to talk about the
Ooh,
Seattle
Yeah.
tournament.
We
nice.
have reached out to them, just finding a good date and time for them as well.
Hmm. And then there might be a Quebec tournament. I'm hoping sometime
Mhm.
coming up in the fall, and then more confirmed stuff. The North American Open in New York is
Mhm.
coming up in October, and that one I am
Details have been announced.
yes. So all details are online. So just look for North American Riichi Open, and you'll see you'll find it really easily. Registration's open. It's going to be in New York in Manhattan. I believe the dates are like October 11th and let's see.
13th?
Oh, there we go. Yes, 13th and 14th. Um, and so yeah, that one's looking pretty good. David hosted the last New York tournament a couple years back before he had to deal with the last World Reach Championship. So you can definitely look
Mm-hmm.
forward to this because he hosts some pretty nice tournaments. Um, so
Does-
yeah, if you can go to that one, you should go to that one because that's going to be the tournament this year, definitely.
This is the first ever North American Riichi tournament. Do you know if it's gonna be annual or if it's gonna be like the Olympics every so and so years? Is that
3
announced?
years?
So I think what is being planned is make it very similar to the European Riichi Mahjong Championship, where it's not every year, but it's probably going to be like every other year or every other year, probably every other year.
Mhm.
And then they'll be switching the location around, so they don't want to keep it in the same place. So this time
Mhm.
we're on the east. Next time it might be on the west, or maybe in like
Mhm.
like Texas or like the
Mhm.
Midwest somewhere. To
Mhm.
basically give the players each time, like the local players, a chance to go over there, and of course,
Yeah.
anyone else can still just fly over there.
Yeah.
But yes, it's definitely going to be a reoccurring event, and so going to the first one, if you can win that one, that'd be pretty nice.
Oh yeah.
I
Being
know-
the first is always.
I know you can't tell everything, but did they invite any pro players?
I don't know yet, actually. Knowing David, it's quite possible. Last time at the New York tournament, they had Moriyama Kaicho, president of the Japanese Professional Mahjong League, and the first winner of the WRC, Yamai Pro. And so that one was really fun. And after the games, on like Sunday night, we all just stayed and we're have like a study session with Moriyama, just going until like 12 o'clock. So it was really nice. And yeah, so whatever they have, definitely look forward to it.
So although it's named the North American Riichi Open, it's still open, so it's not limited to the U.S. players, right?
Correct. So anyone
Right.
from anywhere can come. In which case, there already are some international players that are signed up. I'm like 100% sure like Gemma's going to be there. I hope David's there, or UK David, who also is the person that opened the blog Osamuko. If you've ever read that.
Osamuko.
Yep. I think a lot of the players out here as well have started maybe because of that. Was it Zach? When we interviewed Zach from Oklahoma, I think one of his last shout-outs was the Osamuko group.
Yep.
If I remember right. Right. So it's a valuable source. And I know, Daniel, you're close with David. You guys met multiple times.
Both David.
And let's go into the other tournament.
Oh yeah,
Other
that one.
tournaments.
So the Pacific Mahjong League is going to be hosting our 2018 tournament on the second weekend of November, which is Veterans Day weekend. So that's, I believe, the 10th and 11th. We're going to be hosting it here in North California Bay Area. So you can fly in from either San Francisco Airport or Oakland Airport. And right now, we're still looking for the exact place where to host it, but as soon as we get that out, we're going to be sending out, posting up the page for signups. Like before, we're probably going to try to make this one an all automatic tournament, and with some help from the LAPOM people, steal some of their tables. And yeah, hopefully we'll have a very, very nice tournament. So whenever the signups for that goes up, definitely jump on it. Last time we hosted this, signups filled up very, very quickly, to our surprise.
Yeah, 60. Last time you guys made it like maximum 60 players, right?
We started 48, and then that filled up the second day after we released the tournament, and so we bumped it up on another table, and that filled up instantly as well. And we still had some players afterwards. They're like, "Are there any more spots?" But unfortunately, with all auto tables as well as just like space for the place we were hosting it in, it's like pretty hard to cap. So
but this time around, we do have more tables in total, I think.
That's nice.
How many auto table you could gather?
Over here, let's see. So we got in my house alone, 1, 2, 3, 4 almost Rex. We have the one at Berkeley.
5.
Let's see, and then we have Chinese tables. So we have one at Berkeley. We have, I think, like 1, 2, 3. We have like several laying around here, so maybe like 9 tables.
9 table.
And then we have how many does LAPOM have right now?
We can bring like maximum 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's like almost 15.
Yeah, so we can maybe get 60. So we'll see.
But guess what? We might bring more tables from Japan.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Details coming soon, hopefully. We could finalize the details.
I know, you should probably talk to, who is it? Beechin as well. He was kind of looking at getting maybe another Rex for his house.
Okay.
So, we have a lot of very, very interesting things planned in the future. Last week, I think we mentioned we're going to be translating blogs from Mahjong Watch. The first one, the translation has been completed. We're just going to, lay it out nice and similar to the actual posts, and we got approval from them. That's going to trickle down into multiple projects throughout the year and from this point on. So digital content, we're definitely going to be doing that. And some physical content as well that is probably the most I could say as this point, as it's not concrete yet. We're still mixing the materials, waiting for it to kind of get hard. So more details to come on that.
Also, if you look online right now, Donnie from the Texas group contacted Tina, also from Texas, and Tina's lately's been putting out some strategy guides. And so if you look on Twitter, the North American Riichi Mahjong account, Narma, also retweeted those lately. And so definitely check those out, because if you're like, starving for some nice Japanese Mahjong strategy, then this is the place to go.
Yep. Tina is she brings results, the first DFW champion. Second year, she was second place, I believe.
But we asked her at the rankers, and she said she doesn't want to be famous. So she's kind of shy. We asked her to join as a guest, but she doesn't want to. So
everybody has a different personality, and that's what makes Mahjong fun as well too, I think.
Just assure her that she will not be famous.
But she has 3 articles out now.
I hope the community reacts and then send her a nice message.
There's a bunch of new stuff going around with different groups. Let's go into the groups real quick. So Daniel, you're from PML, one of the reps, one of the core members. We were discussing this offline earlier. But when it comes to point calculations, right? When you guys streamed stream your matches, there's something different with your stream compared to everybody else's, and that is displaying the points in a database manner. I don't know what the right word would be, but so PML's founder, Kira, she came up with this program or this database, this way to organize points, right? Can you go into detail of that real quick?
Yes. So Kira is the founder of PML, and she's also a programmer and can make stuff very, very, very quickly. So 3 years back, she made a point calculation system so that we can, keep track of all of our league games, divide them into different seasons and leagues so that we can have like a rankers, a scoreboard, and it's a pretty nice system. It basically for every single hand you'll indicate like what happened, so like who won off who, how many Han and Fu was it, and boom. So yeah, for the last 3 years we've been keeping track of that. Recently she's added a lot of additions to it. She's added individual statistics page for individual players. So
Nice.
you can see your winning rate, your deal-in rate, your Riichi rates, your everything. So it's quite nice. And also she added a phone application side to it where individual people that are in the system, so the players themselves can log in and see their active games. And so on a table, they can log in and basically input their games as they're going, which is what we also used in the Best of the West tournament earlier this year.
Yes.
And the feedback we got from that was pretty positive, and the UI is a lot better than the original one. So,
yeah, so what's difference was like each kyoku or each even ryukyoku, everything get tracked.
And in the tournament, it was really nice because she changed the system some so that because it was a team tournament. So if you looked at your total points, it would show your team's total points. And so you had people just playing their game, looking at their phone, and oh no, someone dealt into a Baimon, or oh look, someone on my team won a Yakumon. What? And it added a really interesting perspective to the game. And I had a few players that were telling me it's just they were just so excited, going through there because they're playing this game, but it's a team tournament, and with that scoring, you're a lot more connected because you can just see everyone's scores, your team score. It's not just how you yourself are doing in this game, which you already basically know. But yeah, so we're looking to also use the system in the upcoming 2018 PML Open, and also if anyone is interested, Kira also is releasing the system so that anyone can use it at their tournaments as well.
Oh, that's good to know.
There you go.
Hopefully we're going to get to the point where we can just fully release this to any club that wants it, even for just their basic league play. But Kira has to update the user system first before we can actually manage that, because I don't think I can fly over to every single meetup that they have and put a bid for them.
Oh, by the way, from the team tournament, those scoring things, right? I spoke with somebody in Japan. Some of the pro groups are interested in to take a look at your system too. Which we should keep in a secret. But when the thing's coming up,
we're doing this live.
Yeah, we're gonna give you a call.
Definitely.
So which is really advantage. So I think players in PML, they got so used to this is how you play in Riichi Mahjong, but which kind of a lot of work, but when you get used to it, which is so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we have an unfair advantage over here, because the system works. Systems like this, I've heard a lot of argument from both ways. Some of them are in tournaments, oh, what happens if the system is different than the points that they have? But we used the system in our first Pacific Mahjong League Open, and the answer for that is pretty simple. You just use the points on the table, because at the end of the day, if people mess up, that's okay, as long as they themselves are the ones approving the mess up. As long as they themselves are playing with the thing that they think they're playing, that's what matters. Because if you go over there and let's say, you enter in a wrong score, or maybe even you didn't even enter in a wrong score. Let's say you entered in the right score, but they exchanged the points wrong. And so at the end of the game, they look at their points, and so is like, X thousand different than the final score. If you take the final score that you had on that you recorded, even though it might be more correct or it might even be right, that's unfair to the players. Because this is not the score that they all agreed on. This is not the score that, they came to. Whereas if you take the player's score, even if they messed up, that's okay. Because if they're accepting the score that they themselves basically came to.
So from 2017 LAPOM Championship, we used Akira's data. Came up with a couple of game, a couple hundred dozen match, because of the Ibomba was missing, or some of those things that happen. So the player has to get used to in the game in the right way, not too fast, not too slow, but the point stick transfer has to be smooth and then nicely, and then we need to track with those computer base. So we could both need to improve.
Well, going back to what I was saying of how I think we have an unfair advantage, and that's because at the Pacific Mahjong League, we're full of rich kids, and so we have Japanese Mahjong tables called the Almost Rex, which have RFID point sticks and automatic scoring indicators on them. So what we can do with that is, as we put in the scores, we can instantly compare what is the score that we have on the computer and what is the score that we have on the table. And we can see any differences, which you find out doing this that people mess up in Mahjong a lot. And this is not just true for us. This is true in tournaments. This is true in even Japanese Mahjong parlors. One of the most simple things that people forget is forgetting Honba. You go to Yukoku and the dealership continues on, but someone forgets to put Honba out. That happens a lot. And the system can immediately see that, and you're like, oh, wow, cool, I accidentally did that. Or, of course, you could accidentally put in something the wrong way. Let's say you accidentally, put in 3 Han 20 fu instead of 2 Han 20 fu. Because you're comparing the table as well as the points, you can instantly kind of see if there's a difference, why. It's oh, no, I put in the score wrong. Just delete this hand and then put it back in. Or you can say, oh, so-and-so, you paid this much and change, but you forgot, you paid 100 short. All of that is really easily seen. If you have both a table that you can just see the points instantly, and also a score where you can just see the points instantly.
Yeah, not only that, all of a sudden some of the point stick start doesn't work, doesn't catch up, right? Sometimes it happens even with the Rex. 5,000 is short.
Oh, if you do that, you know what you should do?
Turn off and come back home, right?
You can do that, or you can just trade 5,006 with someone.
Oh.
Because, occasionally the RFIDs will get a little bit screwed up, and either you replace them with just a replacement that you have. You can restart the score, or you can just trade it to another person, because it might not work in yours, but it might work in theirs.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to work on.
Pretty much. So there's a bunch of things. Obviously Kira as a programmer, that's a field that she specializes in. Putting whatever your individual skill set is, apply that to Mahjong, and we get new things, and that helps the community in a whole, not just here in the US, but if people from Japan are asking about that, that's going to open a lot of doors for a lot of people. So looking forward to that as well, definitely. And again, her system, the system that she created, does eliminate a lot of the issues found early on in the game. So system like that, or whether it be a spreadsheet or something equivalent, to catch certain errors early on.
But don't get spoiled. Play also needs to work on.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you would have to, what if you don't have internet? What if there's a cyber attack and then there's an EMT cannon and all electronics are dead? What's gonna happen then? So kind of like the GPS thing, right? A coworker and I were having this conversation and how we had paper maps back in the day. One guy still does because sometimes his reception gets bad if he goes on long trips, so he has to learn or has to remember how to read a map. There's no GPS, so kind of like that, right? You still have to be able to calculate your own points to a certain degree.
Or you can get a cached version of your
Oh.
yeah. And so if you're ever using like any system, whether it's like a spreadsheet or any like any electronics for like a tournament, usually we always keep like paper backups. Because you always gotta assume the worst will happen. Like, let alone like the internet going out. What if your computer just explodes? What if like, I don't know, someone just like runs off with it? But as long as you have like something to walk back on, then it's good. But of course, not just only doing by paper might not be ideal, because computers and whatnot, spreadsheets or even like the system can catch a lot of stuff that you yourself might just skip over. One of the obvious things is just do the points actually add up to 120 or 100 depending on what you're playing with.
So, obviously, the computer exploding part, that's something that is least likely to happen. But in the case that it might, when it does blow up, you'll know next time to have another spare computer. Sometimes you gotta learn it the hard way. As some debates have been going on, we had to experience that the other day at the Rankers, so we know what not to do and what to do next time. Based off of the feedback and all that stuff. So we only go forward. We don't go backwards. We only go forward.
Everyone has high expectations of LAPOM, so whenever you do something, they'll let you know. Mainly because we have high expectations of you, and we hope for the best.
So we will continue to do what we do. Hopefully everyone will understand. And Kira's new system, once this is actually out to everyone, we're definitely going to use it. I live relatively nearby, so I'll be happy to be a tester. I'm going to try and visit you guys more often, as much as I can, but damn, it's been freaking busy, so.
Apple works pretty hard, I've heard.
Yeah. Hey, keep that up.
He works at Apple.
But that aside, let's. It's a little past an hour. We do have one question from our viewer. Daniel, you may remember him. He is our very own Ixi. Ixi had a question for you. His question, and I'm gonna just translate what he said. Why are your legs so long, and why are you so good looking? You have so many good traits, and I'm a little jealous to a point where it might piss me off. So next time, I'm gonna go on full-on Ixi mode and beat the crap out of you at Mahjong. This is a official challenge, is what he is saying. So
okay, all right.
So that means he's going to San Francisco tournament for sure.
Oh, yes. Nice. So I've never seen my legs as like a good point. I don't know. They're like annoyingly like with weird proportions. Like my upper body is like really tiny, so it's like You're good looking too, Ixi. Definitely.
So we'll get to see Ixi, full Ixi mode.
Full Ixi mode.
Yeah. One of these days, whether it be the upcoming tournament.
Unlimited Ixi works.
Yeah, we're gonna have to live stream that one too. And we caught a glimpse of that, right, at the Rankers Carnival. He went full on, couple hanchans. It was just.
He never falls.
Yeah.
He never falls.
Blunders aside, like I was watching the finals for that one, and it's so nice. Like especially like that final like hanchan with like Shisho and that was nice. We're at Fanime, we were taking bets like, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? I called Shisho, by the way.
for next year's rankers, because of you, we might need to change the schedule. We need to skip the anime, not on the same day.
Yeah, we would have to reschedule it on a different or non-anime day.
Because we need a Daniel to play.
I mean, if you need a calendar of all upcoming Mahjong events, including tournaments, conventions, etc., just let me know, or just ask me, because I have that very mapped out. So I got like flight tickets booked up all the way to next year, basically, right now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And now everybody knows why I would call him Mr. Mahjong, right? he is very well prepared. Yeah, I mean, this could easily be a 2-hour show today, but we are going overtime. Let's see. Any last words? Any last shout-outs, Daniel?
Any last shout-outs? Shout-outs to all the people that are doing like hella cool stuff for like Mahjong right now. Like Zach made this like the Oklahoma Club, the Dallas group who's running like Tenho Tuesdays. Everyone that's helping out with the North American Open, like, yeah, keep it up. Woo.
Oh, Daniel, one more thing. We need to visit Vegas too.
In Vegas. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Green Dragon.
The Green Dragons. I wonder if Tuvi is Tuvi still over there in Vegas?
Yes.
Is he playing with them?
I think so. We hooked them up.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, is that right word? Yeah, but we introduced them.
Yeah, that's the right word. if implied and used that way, yes.
Definitely looking forward to that.
Yep.
Okay, so
I don't have anything. Well, I mean, we're relatively close by, so I could just ask you in person. So.
Let's drive over.
I have a last question.
Hmm.
Daniel, are we a Mahjong friend?
Well, nah. No, Masa, you are not my Mahjong friend. You are my Mahjong family. One-upped.
Man, now we're gonna have to change the name of our show. But we out to Mahjong family.
Yeah, we promised each other like one day some kind of tournament. We're gonna play against each other at the finals level. So let's make it happen someday.
Just don't do what you did at the Seattle tournament and start it off with Yakumo Sumo.
But I wasn't participating for the semifinals, so that's okay. Okay, so I think